Spring Television. Ours it is.
Here are the top stories of the news. Terrorists kidnapped at least 25 people in Kankara local government area of Katsina State. APC presidential candidate Bola Tinubu calls on all party candidates to work together to win the polls. On the foreign scene, police arrest Italy's most wanted mafia boss Matteo Messina Denaro in Sicily after 30 years on the run. Good afternoon and welcome to Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. My name is Damilola Raphael. Terrorists have attacked the New Life for All Church in the Kankara local government area of Katsina State, kidnapping at least 25 worshippers. According to eyewitnesses, the terrorists armed with sophisticated guns invaded the church and that at Dansauni Gidan Haruna community yesterday morning when faithful were in the church. The senior special assistant to Governor Aminu Masari on Christian Affairs, Ishaya Jurao, also confirmed the attack to newsmen. In a statement, the Katsina State Police Command also confirmed the attack, but said 7 worshippers were kidnapped. The state police spokesman, SB Gambo Isa, noted that the terrorists attacked the church and shot one Pastor Haruna on his hand. He disclosed that the divisional police officer in charge of Kankara led a team of policemen to the village, but before his arrival, the terrorists had already escaped with the victims. Governor Abubakar Sani Bello of Niger State has imposed a dusk-to-dawn curfew on Lambata, Gurara local government area of the state following a violent clash that led to killing of the village head, Mohammed Abdusafo. This was contained in a statement by the Secretary to the State Government, Ahmed Matane, yesterday in Mina, the state capital. The village head of Lambata was reportedly murdered by some hoodlums on Saturday during the violent clash. Bello directed that a curfew be imposed on the town from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., beginning from yesterday till further notice. He said that the imposition of the curfew was to assist the security agencies to stabilize the situation, save lives, and restore law and order. Still in Niger State, Governor Sani Abubakar has ordered security personnel to go after the killers of Reverend Father Isaac Archie of St. Peter and Paul Catholic Church in Paikoro local government area of the state. Governor Bello, in a statement issued by his chief press secretary, Mary Noel Berger, described the setting ablaze of the parish priest as ungodly and inhumane. He said attacking a religious facility to murder anyone is the worst dimension of terrorist attacks, stating that drastic action is needed to end the ongoing carnage. The governor therefore urged security agencies to continue to evolve new strategies that would end the atrocious and barbaric acts, adding that his government will not rest on its oars to ensure that the perpetrators were brought to book. It would be recalled that yesterday morning, bandits attacked the community, shooting sporadically and set ablaze the Catholic parish house, killing the parish priest. In Osun State, a 51-year-old woman, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Bemisola Ojo, has been kidnapped by some unknown gunmen in Osogbo, the Osun State capital. Confirming the incident in Osogbo yesterday, the Amotekun Field Commander, Comrade Amitolu Shitu, said the Corps had begun searching for the kidnapped victim. According to Comrade Shitu, Mrs. Ojo was kidnapped at her residence located around Technical College area, Osogbo, around 10:30 p.m. on Friday, January 13, 2023, by unknown gunmen. He further explained that he received a distress call at around 1:15 a.m. midnight on Saturday from the victim's husband, Mr. Ojo Oluwasanmi Festus, a staff of NNPC Warri Depot, on the disappearance of his wife, saying Amotekun operatives went into action immediately in search of the victim. He assured inhabitants of the state that the kidnapped victim will be rescued and the criminals that perpetrated the act will be apprehended and brought to book. To politics, the Osun State chapter of the All Progressives Congress has accused the leadership of the State Police Command of planning to clamp down on its members. The APC acting state chairman, Tajuddin Lawal, made the allegation in a statement yesterday, stating that the command plans to use some divisional police officers already briefed by the ruling People's Democratic Party. Mr. Lawal alleged that the force plans to replace some current divisional police officers considered fair with those that would assist the ruling party to clamp down on the members of opposition parties in the state. He also disclosed that a meeting was held in Ede between the leadership of the police and the handlers of the state governor, Senator Ademola Adeleke, where it was agreed that DPOs in the state should be transferred and replaced with those who would cooperate with the ruling party. The presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, yesterday met with the governorship and National Assembly candidates for the forthcoming general elections on the platform of the ruling party. Tinubu, at the meeting held in Abuja, said all the APC candidates need to work together to win the polls, noting that he needs them just as he will support them. The presidential candidate stated that he had been eager to meet with the candidates, urging them to ensure they do not disappoint members of the party that gave them tickets to contest at the polls. He added that the many unproductive years of the opposition People's Democratic Party while in government leaves Nigerians expecting a new lease of life from the candidates. The meeting was attended by the party's national chairman, Abdullahi Adamu, President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, several governors, as well as members of the National Working Committee and Presidential Campaign Council. The presiding overseer of the Citadel Global Community Church, Pastor Tunde Bakare, says politicians who practice the Emi-Lokan politics are intolerant. Bakare stated this yesterday during a State of the Nation broadcast at his church auditorium in Ikeja, Lagos. The clergy explained the politics of entitlement further, said Emi-Lokan politics only aims to gratify long personal ambitions. The term Emi-Lokan, which means it is my turn in Yoruba language, was made popular by the APC presidential candidate Bola Tinubu, who used it to canvass for votes in Abeokuta, Ogun State, in the build-up to his party's primary election last June.
The politics of elimination will remember our nation's unresolved political assassinations and the lingering questions they elicit. Who killed Funshaw Williams? Who killed Bola Ige? Who killed Marshall Harry? Who killed Victoria Chintex? By eliminating opponents, the practitioners of the politics of elimination deprive the nation of leaders who are, more often than not, better than themselves. Number 10, politics of entitlement. This is the Emi-Lokan type of politics that insists on one's turn even if circumstances do not align. Politics of entitlement also manifests as perennial candidacy, not with the intent to serve, but to gratify long-term personal ambitions. It could also manifest as insistence on a given political office as a reward for what one considers a lifetime of sacrifice to the nation. Politicians with a sense of entitlement evade political debates. They do not consider it imperative to communicate with the electorate. Entitlement politics will breed an imperial presidency that is distant from the people and has no sense of responsibility or accountability to the people. Such imperial governance will slide towards dictatorship and will be intolerant of dissent. Entitlement politicians set low performance benchmarks for themselves when they secure power and are content with projecting molehills as mountains of achievement.
State Governor Nyesom Wike has sent a stern warning to the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and its presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar over a plot to make the southern bloc of the party a second-class citizen. Wike sent the warning while reacting to the resignation of Professor Alphonsus Nwosu, a member of the PDP Board of Trustees, from the party leadership reported. Wike stated this when PDP stakeholders in the Ogu-Bolo local government area of the state paid him a solidarity visit in Port Harcourt. The governor stated that Nwosu's resignation justified the stance of the G5 governors of the PDP on equity, fairness, and justice. He stressed that the more the PDP remained adamant about zoning the office of the national chairman to the south, the presidential candidate and the party would have to pay for the consequences. The Plateau State chapter of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has temporarily suspended all campaign activities following the tragic road accident over the weekend that claimed the lives of its supporters. It was gathered that many supporters of the PDP died as a truck conveying them crashed in the Panyam area of Mango local government area of Plateau State on Saturday. In an update by the State Federal Road Safety Corps FRSC Command, at least 16 people died and 83 others were injured in the auto crash. In a statement by the Director of Media and Publicity of the PDP Campaign Council in the state, Yujab Abraham, the governorship campaign activities have been suspended to mourn the demise of the party supporters. He noted that the party's gubernatorial candidate, Barrister Caleb Mutfwang, after due consultations, has suspended all campaign activities with immediate effect. Simon Ekpa, the self-acclaimed disciple of the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu, has announced a 2-day sit-at-home in Southeast region. Mr. Ekpa, in an update posted on Twitter early this morning, said the fresh sit-at-home is to ensure the release of Kanu. He stated that if Kanu is not released from the DSS custody for medical attention for his failing heart by January 22, 2023, there will be sit-at-home in Biafra land on Monday, January 23, and Tuesday, January 24, 2023. It would be recalled that last month, Ekpa's 5-day sit-at-home exercise turned bloody as locals were murdered by gunmen enforcing the order. You're watching Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. We will be right back after this break.
According to the words of Michael Forbes, one who never asks questions either knows everything and nothing. Watch me as I ask the questions you think no one wants to answer. Even questions it appears no one has got the guts to ask. My name is Femi Adifula and I've got the gut. Let's ask the pertinent questions and watch as we get answers.
Sports is a culture on its own. It has its own language, its own people with their own way of life. The world of sports is never void of actions, stories, dramas, and scandals. I guess you need a sports show that can walk the walk and talk the talk.
On this show, we answer all your sporting questions. The whens, the whys, the wheres, and even the what ifs. Sports Spring is that show that will give you that new lease of life you've been looking for in sport journalism. Join me, Joseph Atewe,
And your sports Amazon, Nengi Ernest.
on this station, Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on Star Times.
Let's talk sports. Let's speak the most universal language of the world.
You're welcome back. Nigeria's fallen heroes were honored in different parts of the country yesterday in commemoration of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. The annual celebration, which holds every January 15th, features parade by armed forces across the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory and the laying of wreaths. In Abuja, President Muhammadu Buhari presided over the ceremony at Eagle Square. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo Senate President Ahmed Lawan, Speaker of the House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila, Chief Justice of Nigeria Olukayode Ariwola, heads of security agencies and other dignitaries were present. Meanwhile, the Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke joined servicemen in the state to celebrate the 2023 Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Governor Adeleke laid the wreath at the front of the Osun State House of Assembly to honor the fallen heroes of the Nigerian Armed Forces. In his address, he called for renewed funding for the security sector and other reforms.
I advocate a renewed focus on funding of security sector alongside security sector reform. As a nation, we are faced with mounting security challenges at a time of national and global economic crisis. National and state leaders must therefore brainstorm on how best to meet the financial needs of the security sector. Despite competing needs, a new national dialogue on sustainable funding for the armed forces and other security services is necessary now more than ever before. We must reevaluate our finances option, focusing not just on military hardware. We must innovate to care sufficiently for the welfare of service personnel and veterans. Neglecting welfare of service personnel is a disservice to effective national defense. Permit me to use this opportunity to assure our veterans in Osun State that our government is already looking into their long list of demands. In due course, immediate action will be taken to satisfy the aspiration of veterans in the state.
In Oyo State, Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State has advised the security agencies to remain neutral during the forthcoming general elections. He gave the advice at the grand finale of the 2023 Armed Forces and Remembrance Day held at the Remembrance Arcade, Agodi, Ibadan. Governor Makinde also appreciated officers and men of the Nigerian Armed Forces for their contribution to nation building in view of security challenges facing the nation. We'll be bringing you the clip on that in our subsequent bulletin. Let's move on to business now. In business, human rights lawyer and security advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, says the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, has not returned to the country following allegations of terrorism financing leveled against him by the Department of State Services. The secret police had late last year approached an Abuja court to arrest Emefiele over alleged terrorism financing and economic crimes of national security. But Justice Miriam Hassan of the Federal Capital Territory High Court in Abuja quashed the move. She thereafter barred the DSS from arresting or inviting Mr. Emefiele, labeling the terrorism allegations against the governor as vindictive, oppressive, and void. However, Mr. Falana yesterday said the DSS does not need a court order to arrest the CBN governor if the service has concrete evidence against him. He urged the DSS to proceed to arrest Emefiele upon his arrival in Nigeria, noting that the Apex Bank governor is not constitutionally entitled to immunity. Mr. Falana queried whether the government had considered the enormous implication of the effect of a wanted governor of the Apex Bank on the economy. Still in business, Italy's antitrust authority today said the offices of the several oil companies, including Italian oil giant Eni and ExxonMobil Corporation, have been searched over alleged fuel price violations. The authority, which carried out the inspections with the help of Italy's tax police, said it was probing irregularities concerning prices being charged at the pump, which were higher than those advertised, as well as failures in advertising fuel prices. The competition watchdog, in a statement, said many of the oil giants allegedly failed to adopt appropriate measures to prevent and counteract this unlawful conduct to the detriment of its consumers. Fuel prices have taken center stage in Italy after Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni's executive dropped a costly reduction in excise duties introduced by the previous government when the price of petrol exceeded €2 per litre. On the foreign scene, Italy's most wanted mafia boss, Matteo Messina Denaro, has been arrested in Sicily after 30 years on the run. Messina Denaro was reportedly detained in a private clinic in Sicily's capital, Palermo. He is alleged to be a boss of Sicily's notorious Cosa Nostra mafia. Italian media reported that he had been receiving treatment when he was arrested just before 10 and taken to a secret location by the Carabinieri. Messina Denaro was tried and sentenced to life in jail in absentia over numerous murders. In a video posted online, the alleged cartel boss was escorted out of the hospital premises by police officers. Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni thanks the armed forces for their work in detaining the most important member of the mafia criminal group, adding that it was a great victory for the state. In Africa, some 50 women have been abducted by suspected jihadists in northern Burkina Faso, according to local officials. Residents in Arbinda said 2 groups of women were taken as they were out gathering leaves and wild fruits because of a severe food shortage. A small number managed to escape and raised the alarm. The abductions happened on Thursday and Friday, but the news has just emerged as much of the area has been blockaded by Islamic militants. Arbinda in the Sahel region has been hit hard by the jihadist insurgency. Roads in and out have been blocked by the jihadists, food supplies are limited, and the humanitarian situation is desperate. It should be recalled that last month, protesters in Arbinda broke into warehouses to get food and supplies. Burkina Faso as a whole has been hit by a decade-long insurgency that has displaced nearly 2 million people. The military seized power last January, promising an end to attacks, but the violence still rages. A former Afghan MP, Mursal Nabizada, and her bodyguard have been shot dead at her home in the capital, Kabul, yesterday. Afghan police said 32-year-old Nabizada was one of the few female MPs who stayed in Kabul after the Taliban seized power in August 2021. Her brother and a second security guard were wounded in the attack. Former colleagues praised Ms. Nabizada as a fearless champion for Afghanistan who turns down a chance to leave the country. Since the Taliban returned to power in 2021, women have been removed from nearly all areas of public life. Kabul police spokesman Khalid Sadran said security forces had started a serious investigation into the incident. In sport, Arsenal extended their lead at the top of the Premier League to a formidable 8 points with an outstanding performance and win in the North London derby at Tottenham. The Gunners took full advantage of Manchester City's loss at Manchester United on Saturday with an impressive show of style in the first half and still after the break to claim a vital 3 points. Arsenal were helped by a blunder from Spurs keeper Hugo Lloris when he fumbled Bukayo Saka's cross into his own net after 14 minutes. Captain Martin Odegaard drilled in the second from outside the area 9 minutes before the break. Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta in his post-match press conference said he loved the way his players played and the courage they showed.
the togetherness around the team and how much it meant for them. It's special, and we know that we are here because the way we play, the way we behave, the way we are, and the way we live together, and the unity that we have. So we must not forget that, because tomorrow we have to try to do exactly the same, and the next day to try to carry on the form that we have at the moment. That is a great position to be in, and let's enjoy every single moment, and let's keep focusing. And the enjoyment is going to come if tomorrow we do what we have to do. Yeah, but I don't want to do too much calculation. Is how we're going to prepare the game against Manchester United now to have another 3 points and play well and deserve to win. But if you ask me about the points, it's happened in the last 4 or 5 seasons.
To tennis, home favourite Nick Kyrgios pulled out of the Australian Open with a knee injury the day before he was scheduled to play his opening match. The Wimbledon runner-up said he was devastated he could not play in Melbourne. Seeded 19th, Kyrgios was set to play Russia's Roman Safin tomorrow. Meanwhile, British rising star Jack Draper tested Spain's Rafael Nadal before physical issues cost him in a full-set loss in the Australian Open first round. 21-year-old Draper levelled it 1 set each, leading to 22-time major champion Nadal having a frank discussion with his team before the set. Top seed Nadal led 4-1, but was still unconvincing as Draper broke back before the Briton lost serve at 5-4.
I know you guys will all be wondering, what's going on. So physio Will here has been with me throughout my career, and he's been monitoring me pretty closely the last week, and he's going to give you more of the details on what's kind of going on. And obviously I'm just exhausted from everything, and obviously pretty brutal. One of the most important tournaments of my career, and so it hasn't been easy at all.
Yeah, it has been a pretty interrupted and difficult lead into the Australian Open, unfortunately. And during the last week or so, Nick's experienced some discomfort in his knee, and routine MRI just to make sure everything was okay. There's a parameniscal cyst growing in his lateral meniscus, which is a result of a...
And before we end the news, here is a recap of our top stories. Terrorists have attacked the New Life for All Church in the Kankara local government area of Katsina State, kidnapping at least 25 worshippers. The presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, yesterday met with the governorship and National Assembly candidates for the forthcoming general elections on the platform of the ruling party. On the foreign scene, Italy's most wanted mafia boss, Matteo Messina Denaro, has been arrested in Sicily after 30 years on the run. You can follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Western Spring Television. You can also watch us live on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. That ends Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. I am Damilola Raphael. Thanks for watching. Good afternoon.